Today we'll learn about JavaScript arrays. Let's look at this menu. There are several chapters about the arrays. We'll start from these arrays, and the next chapter is about methods and array sort and so on. Let's look at these main contents. JavaScript arrays are used to store multiple values in a single variable, like other programming language, and especially about the arrays in other programming language. Due to single variable name, we can store many values. For example, this variable name cars, that is containing many values like this, and this array, that concept is exactly the same with other programming language. Here, if we want to show out the elements of that array, then simply we can use this array name. Then we can show out like this. There are 3 elements, and we can show out here. Even though you are very familiar to this array, to the other programming language, let's try to remind. An array is a special variable, and that can contain or hold more than one value at the same time. And if you have a list of items, for example, car names, and storing the cars in single variables could look like this. But this one is a little bit inconvenient, because we should have many variable names, and if we have many values like this, over 300 or much more than that, then it will be very inconvenient. Thus, with this array, we can hold many values under a single name, and also we can access the values by referring to an index number, and it is very convenient. Then how to create an array? Using an array literal is the same, and that is very easy to create a JavaScript array like this. If we are using this square bracket, with this literal, we can create array like this, and we can enumerate that array elements like this, and this comma will separate the elements. And in terms of the space or line break, it doesn't matter. We can declare in this way also. This one is another way to create array in JavaScript. It's a new keyword, but in advance I am warning about this. Please do not use this method, because it is inconvenient and inefficient. Later, that the drawback will be explained later. For simplicity, readability, and execution speed, the first one, using the square bracket, we can declare, we can create array. That will be either recommendable method to create array. And how to access the elements of an array, and we can use, as I mentioned already, and also probably you are very familiar to this index number for array, and we can refer to that index number, then we can access the element. For example, if we want to access the first element in this array, then simply we can use this square bracket and index number 0, then we can access Here, let's look at this real example with this source code. Let's focus on that. This JavaScript statement. Here, array name cars that is declared here, and we can create in this way, and after that we can access the first element. In array, the index number is starting from 0. Thus that 0 means this one is indicating the first element of that array. And this one is the explanation for that. 0 is the first element, as I mentioned, and 1 is the second, 2 is third element, and so on. And also we can change or update an array element with this, with different value. In this way we can use this index number, then that the first element in this case that can be updated like this. Let's look at the real example here. Original array elements are here, and we can update or we can change that element value here in this way. Then let's verify that change the result. Then here you can see this star that is changed into this opera. How to access the full array? It is very convenient. With JavaScript, the full array can be accessed by referring to the array name simply like this. This is the array name. Then with this single array variable name, we can access the whole elements like this. Here, arrays object. This one is explain about some data type about the array, and the arrays are a special type of objects. There's, if we are using type of operator in JavaScript, then we can get the returned data type object for this array. But JavaScript arrays are best described as arrays. And arrays use numbers to access its elements. In this example, as we learned already, this 0, with this index number we can access the element. Depending upon that index number, we can access that specific element. But the object, this one is using literal, these curly braces, and due to this method we can declare object. Thus, if we are declaring and if we are using these curly braces, then that means we are declaring object. Thus, in this way we can create person object. And some specific value that can be accessed into that property name in this way. Here, the person object is created using these curly braces, and the specific value, the first property value that can be accessed is the property name, first name. Thus, John can be accessed like that. Here, if we are considering array, then array can contain many elements. Some elements among those array elements, those can be objects. JavaScript variables can be objects. Arrays are special kinds of objects. Thus, we can have variables of different types in the same array. Thus, like this, or like this function, also we can contain in our array. Also, array can contain another array. Also, array can contain object. And we have some special property names and method related to this array, and those are built-in array properties and methods. Among them, length here, and some methods we will learn later in other chapters. To this length property, we can get the whole number of elements of that array, and into this sort method, we can sort the element value in terms of the alphabetical order, or descending or ascending. We can control. We can learn about that the sorting method into this sort method in other chapter later. First, let's focus on this length property. We have now, it is very simple. How many elements here? 4 elements. Thus, due to this length property, we can get the number 4. That means 4 elements. That is the length of that fruit array. And okay, I will skip some repeated contents and simple concept. Here, if we were access the last one, if that is containing many elements, then it may be a little bit difficult to find out the index number. But in this way, we can simply get the last element. Here, the length is the whole number of the elements. That means 4 here. There's, if we are subtracting 1, then that means 3. The array index number is starting from 0. There's 3 is the last index number. There's 0, 1, 2, 3. In this way, we can access the last element. It is so simple and it is very convenient. And in this way, we can use this for loop. With this for loop, we can repeat, and we can compare with this condition, and we can increment, and finally that will be finishing that repetition, and until that time we can access the whole elements in this way. And here we are concatenating with the HTML elements, then we can show out the result like this. On ordered list, later we will learn about this method, but this one was introduced in advance. We can also use array.forEach, and forEach, that is the built-in method related to this array. And here we can access each element with this special method. And here later we will discuss more in detail about this, but in advance let's look at briefly. Here for each, this one is using a callback function. The function name is my function. If that array, this method is accessed, then this method function will be called. And here this value is related to that each element, array element, and this one is repeating, and all elements will be accessed, and they will be concatenated together, thus we can show out the whole elements like that. Okay, let's try to close some open tabs here first. Let's continue here. Adding array elements. There are several methods related to this array, and those are built-in methods, and it will be very convenient to use that functions. Those people, this one is one of them. If we are trying to add new element to an array, here push method. Into this one we can add new element here. Now we wanna add one more fruit, that is lemon, and we are trying to add as a new element to this fruit array. Then simply we can use this push, then as a last element that will be added. There's the whole element, the number of whole element will be changed to 5. Let's click this one, then you can see this one will be added as a last element like this. Also we can use the length property. Then this one is indicating the new index number. Now the maximum, the highest index number is 0, 1, 2, 3. Next one will be 4. If we are considering the whole number of that elements, that will be 4. Then automatically that is indicating the last index number, and we can add in this way. But if we are using some arbitrary index number, then if we are not using the consecutive number, then there may be some holes, empty holes. Those are undefined data type and undefined value like this, because those are empty holes. Thus we should be careful about this situation. Okay, this one is explained about associative arrays. Many programming languages support arrays with named indexes, but that is not recommended. In JavaScript, arrays always use numbered indexes. Thus, this one is just for reference. Thus, you can read this one. But if we are using name, then that should be object if possible. And in arrays in JavaScript, please try to use number index number instead of name. Thus, in this example, this one is providing some warning message. Here, first one, this one is declared the person array. In this way we can declare array, but here if we are using, okay, in this way we can put in array element values. In this way we can get it also. This is a normal application of array, but this one is warning message, and this one is about the following source code. If we are using named index like that, if that is assigned in this way, then automatically it is declaring, redefining the array to different object. Here, this one is the declaration for array, and the person array is created. Here we can redefine, and this one is defining again, and in this case if we are using this name, then that means person object is created, and this is object the property person name, That is a property name, and this is property value for that. Thus, the data type is being changed. And then after that, we can get some error situation here. Wrong situation here, person.length. In this case, we are assuming and we are supposing that probably that should be length should be 3, but in this case that was wrong. This is array, this is declaration about the object redefinition. This one is redefining the object, and that data type is being changed to object. Thus we are getting wrong result here. And even due to this index number 0, we cannot get it because those are definition about declaration about the object instead of array. Thus, let's try to summarize. In JavaScript, arrays use numbered indexes. In JavaScript, the object use named indexes. Please try to keep in mind. Let's read this one first. When to use arrays, when to use object. This one is showing some difference between them. JavaScript does not support associative arrays, and we should use object when we want the element names to be strings, and we should use arrays when we want the element names to be numbers. To avoid, we should not use new keyword. Please do not use this one. This is not recommended at all. And please try to use this one, square bracket, to declare array. This one is bad, and this one is recommendable way. Also, this one is bad if we are using this new keyword. Instead of that, please try to use this one. This one is a more recommendable way. Because this new keyword is complicating the code, and also it is producing some unexpected result. This one is unexpected result, some special case here. This is some error case, especially in this case. This one is creating an array with 40 undefined elements. Here, this one is creating array with 2 elements, 40 and 100, 2 elements here. With this one, we cannot create array. In this case, some unexpected result. We are assuming we are here. It seems to create one element array, but it is generating 40 element array, and all elements, those are undefined. Thus, if we are trying to get the first element here, then it is showing the output here that is undefined. That is unexpected result. Thus, please try to use square bracket to declare array. And how to recognize an array? As we learned already, we can use type of operator. The problem is that JavaScript operator type of that is returning object even for the array. Then how can find out properly? Here, let's look at this one first. This one is array, and if we are trying to get the type into this type of operator, then the result will be the object. Because this type of operator is returning object data type, because the JavaScript array is an object. Instead of that, we can use this is array. More specifically, we can find out whether that is array or not. Here, array, and after that, this truth. This is truth. This one is array name truth, and we can check in this way. This is the built-in method. With this one, we can check whether that is array or not. This one is showing the result is array. If that is array data type, then true. If that is not array, then it will show false. Okay, this one is a little bit more complicated, and you don't need to know about this. And another one is instance of operator. This one is returning true if an object is created. This one. This one is also showing the result properly. We can check. Let's look at this real example. With this one, we can check whether that is array or not. Instance of array. And here we should use the array name here, and this operator here. And this one is checking whether that is array or not. And this one is array, thus the result will be true. With this operator, we can get it. Okay, you can try others. Let's move to the next. Okay, even though we learned briefly about some array method, this chapter is explaining more in detail about whole array related methods. First, we are trying to convert array to string. In that case, we can use this toString method. It is following this array name, and the dot means this one is belonging to that array object, and this one is converting the array element to string. But there is some rule. In default way, this one comma is being used for separation between elements. But if we are using this join method, then we can use other separator like this. That will be given here as a parameter. Then depending upon that parameter here, that will be used here for separation. Thus that will be used for separator, like here. If we are using other even many asterisk, you can use for separator as separator here. I am using 4 asterisk here, and those 4 asterisks are being used here as a separator. And we learned this one already, but let's look at this one again. Popping and pushing. Sometimes we want to get some element, and popping, that means we can get out some item from that array, or pushing items into an array. We can do that. Like in the stack machine, we can pop. Like similarly, we can get some element, especially the last element from an array, like stack. Here, if we are using the pop in the stack, then the last one, the top element will be extracted. Similarly, here, if we are using this pop method, then last element will be removed and we can get it. Here, if we are trying to use this pop method, then after that the remaining elements, after removing that last element, mango, the others will be shown, the remaining. There's always the last one. If we are using this pop method, that will be those are remaining. The last one will be removed. And also, if we are trying to show out that the pop result, then we can get the last element and we can show on the screen. Okay, original elements of that array truth here, and we can show here. This one is for that. And after that, we are using this pop method, then the result will be shown here. We can pop out the last element here, we can show out here, and after that, that array that will be changed. The last element will be removed and the remaining elements are here, as we learned already in the previous contents about this. This one is repeating again, but this one is showing the popped element. In reverse way, sometimes we want to add a new element to an array, and also this one is similar to the stack machine. When we are trying to put some element on the top, then we can use this push. Then last element, new one, will be stacked as a new element on the top of the stack. Okay, here we are pushing kiwi, then that will be added as a last element here, and let's look at the result here. Here, let's focus on that. Push kiwi, that means kiwi will be added as a last element. Then if we are trying to show out the whole array elements, then we can see the whole elements, including that push it element. That means newly added as a last element kiwi, we can see here. Okay, after closing some open tabs, let's continue. Okay, you can try others. And another method, shift. In reverse way, the previous example, those are dealing with the later part of that array. But if we want to remove the first element, or we want to insert newly as a first element, then we can use this shift. shift method removes the first array element and shift all other elements to a lower index. For example, with this one, we can remove the first element, the banana, and this orange, that will be the first element, this one second, and so on. Thus, in this way, we can remove the first one here after using this shift method, and we can show out the whole array elements again. Then you can see the removed banana and newly created changed array that is starting into the orange element value. And in different way, sometimes we want to put in reverse way, like push, but that push is adding a new element at the last part as a last element. But if we want to insert just before this currently first one, and we can add a new one, in that case we can use this unshift method. Then we can add a new element to an array. That means at the beginning. And let's look at this real example. Here we are using this unshift, and we are trying to add this lemon as a first element. Then after using this unshift, let's try to look at the lemon is added as a first element like this. Original one was like that the banana was the first one. Just before that element, lemon was inserted. We can change the element to this index number like this. Also, we can use the length, and we can append. This one is very similar to the previous example in other chapter. Also, we can delete. Since JavaScript arrays are object, elements can be deleted by using the JavaScript operator delete. But here, using delete may have some undefined holes in the array. That is some bad situation. Thus, try to use pop or shift instead of that. That is recommendable way. Splicing an array. Splicing means connecting, attaching, connecting together, put together continuously. And the splice method can be used to add new items to an array. With this splice, we can add, but where? This is the position for that. This is the position for that, 0, 1, 2 here, and this 0 means how many elements should be deleted before inserting these elements. So this one is explaining about that. The second parameter is defining how many elements should be removed. That means how many elements should be deleted before that insertion. Here we can add, and here even deletion is implemented here. Here 2, 0, 1, 2, that position is here, and before insertion of that new element, the two elements will be deleted. Let's look at this real example here. Okay, here 2 means 0, 1, 2. Here newly that the elements will be inserted here. Before that, these two elements will be deleted. There's in total the whole elements number of that element, that will be 4 here. Let's look at, because that those previous two elements, those are deleted before insertion of that new element, lemon and key. Okay, after closing this one. Let's continue. Using splice to remove elements. Thus, in this way, if we are not inserting new elements, then and only we are using this number that is mainly for removal, deletion, then we can simply delete. This one is removing the first one. If we are using the starting index number here, then that will be started here, and here the first one will be deleted. In this way we can use, instead of the shift method. Also, there is another method. The method name is concat. This name is explaining about the concatenation. With this method we can concatenate. There's in this sequence my girls, that array name, and we can continue this my boys. Those will be combined together. This new array name, this one will be created after that concatenation, like this. This one is the my girls first array, and second array this. In this way we can concatenate together. There's the single another single array. My children will be created, and this is the result after that concatenation. Continuously, those are concatenated. Thus here concat, with this method named concat, we can do that. Okay, more arrays can be concatenated. We can put together here first two array, and after that we can enumerate more array names here, or if we are adding more array names here, then we can concatenate more. There's first one and the second one, third one, those are concatenated, and we can see the result like this. Also, with this method we can also take strings as arguments. There's here, let's look at this real example, and here just Peter is concatenated. Right after that elements Linus, and the last one will be this Peter. Thus we can create this new array, my children, in this way. Slicing an array, we can cut, we can divide, we can slice with this method. With this one we can slice out a piece of an array into a new array like this. We can slice out a part of an array starting from this, and we can provide some index number. From that point we can slice. Let's look at some example here. Here original array name and array elements here are proof, and we are trying to use this slice one. After that we can see the result. We can see the first element that is removed because we are slicing here 0 1. Just before that we are slicing those remaining elements. Those are here, and we can show out. If we are using other index number, for example 2, then we can see 0 0 1 2. Thus before that is sliced, and this one will be sliced out, and the remaining one, those are shown here. Here we can use another parameter here. Then the first one is about the position. Where should we cut? And the second parameter, that is about the end, to select, to extract. Thus here, if we are using this 1,3 with this method slice, then this one is like this. Okay, 0, 1. Here that will be sliced, and 0, 1, 2, 3, just before that. Thus here, until here, there's orange and lemon, those are being selected. Those are remaining elements after that slicing. Thus here, this 3 means 0, 1, 2, 3, just before that 3, until that. From here to just before that. Those will be selected, and those are remaining elements after that. If we are using just only one parameter here, then the whole remaining elements will be selected. Thus, if we are using the slash number and parameter 2, then 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 2, then the remaining whole elements here, those are selected, and finally those are remaining elements after that slice. Okay, this one is explaining about the toString. Sometimes we want to make our array element into string, then we can use this toString method. But even though we are not using this toString method, we can get the same result like this. Thus you don't need to worry about this. You don't need to use this one. We can get the whole string for whole elements here, and the separator is comma here, and as we learned already. But if we are using the join, then with new separator we can create the string as we learned already, but I'll skip that. And here let's focus on that. Even though I am eliminating this one, I am removing this one, we can get the same result like this. Thus you don't need to use this toString method here. Just with this array name we can get the string of that array elements like this. Sometimes we want to find out some maximum element value and minimum values in an array, and some sorting may be required if we want to order. In terms of order, we are changing that order of that elements, then we can do that with this sorting method. And in the next chapter we learn about it. Let's move to the next. Okay, this one is about the sorting arrays. How to sort an array. And let's think about these elements. And we want to sort in alphabetical order. We can sort. Into this method, the method name is sort here. And first that is array name, and that will be sorted into the sort method. Then finally the result will be like this. In terms of alphabetical order, A, B, M, O, those are ordered alphabetically. This new array is created after that. Also in reverse way we can do that. Here reverse the name to do that. After sorting we can use that reverse. Then it is changing the order. There's in terms of the in reverse order alphabetically here that is sorted. Okay, many tabs are opened. Let's try to close first. Okay, but some problem. If we are trying to sort numeric element, then it is showing different result. Think about this one. In terms of numerical order, we want to sort, but this one is sorting alphabetically. Thus, if we are considering the alphabetic ASCII code, then this one is the lower, and okay, this one is wrong. This one is correct. Thus, before that, let's try to use others. Okay, this one is the correct one, and before that, let's try to okay, without using, okay, I'll eliminate this one first. Here we are using this compare function, and I will intentionally remove. And this one is ordinary sort function method. If we are trying to sort, then you can see this one is showing some unexpected result. This one is not sorted in terms of the numeric order. 1, 10, 100, 25, 40. The randomly those are sorted. Because this method is sorting the character, ASCII character, alphabetically. Even though this one is numeric number, that is sort as an considered as an alphabetical number, alphabet character. There's this one. Those are shown first. After that, 2, 4, 5. Those are shown in this way. That is correct in terms of the alphabetical order. But in terms of the numeric order, that is wrong. Thus, to solve this one, we should use this compare function, and this one is explain about that. This one is compare function. In these parentheses, we should use, instead of empty, we should use this compare function. Thus, with this compare function, we can solve that problem. There's numerically, okay, this one is wrong. And thus, if we are, okay, this one is correct. This sequence is numeric order, right? That's correct, right? Because we are using this compare function. As I mentioned already, if I am removing this one, we cannot get the right result like that. Thus, we should use this compare function. Then what is the compare function? Or if we want to sort in reverse way, then how can we do that? If we want to sort descending order, then we can do that. This is descending order. If we are changing this one, instead of return a minus b, we can change this one, b minus a. this is compare function. This one is positive, negative, or 0. Depending upon that, it is changing the order. And this one is providing that information, positive, negative. That means that is which one is higher, which one is lower, or equal. Depending upon that, it is this sort method is changing that order. Thus, let's look at this compare function. Compare function is like that. In the parenthesis of that sort method, we are using this one. The purpose of this compare function is to define an alternative sort order. Simply, this one is providing the information which one is higher. The value will be positive or negative. Depending upon that, the sort method is changing that order. Okay, here this one is showing some wrong result. Sort alphabetically, like our previous example, that was wrong, right? And if we are sorting numerically, then we can get the numeric order here. Thus, this one is about the sort and about the compare function. If we want to sort the array in random order, we can do that. If we are providing some random number here in this compare function, then randomly that will be positive or negative. Depending upon that, the sort method is changing that order. Then that will be arranged, that will be ordered in random way, like this. Whenever I'm clicking this one, the random number here, this one is the built-in method to generate random number. The random number generated, that will be the number between 0 and 1. And depending upon that number, between the number is between 0 and 1, below 1. Thus, any random number that will be generated, and that will be subtracted from this number 0.5. Then that will be positive value or negative value randomly. Depending upon that, the sort method is changing that order of that element. Thus, whenever I am clicking this one, you can see the randomly ordered array. Okay, another method you can refer to this for reference. With this sort method, we can find the highest array value or lowest array value. That is a simple application using that. If we are sorting in ascending order, then the first element will be the lowest value and the last element will be the highest value. If we are sorting return b minus a, then means we are sorting in descending order, then first element will be the highest value and the lowest one will be the last one. We can get it like that. Here, if we are getting the first element after this descending order sorting, because this value is like b minus a, then the first element is the highest one. We can get it. And even though we didn't learn at using this math object, later we will learn about it. And this one is max is belonging to that math object, and we can learn later. With this one we can get the maximum value, but this is a little bit more complicated. This one is just for reference. Also, we can get the maximum value, like the ceiling. You can get it with this method. To find the maximum value, we are starting from this minus or negative infinity value, and slowly we can increase, and finally the maximum value will be remaining, and we can get as a return value. Then we can get the maximum value. If we are trying to find the minimum value, then we are starting with the positive infinity, then the lower one and the lowest one, the minimum value will be returned finally. Even the object arrays we can sort due to that specific property name. We can sort here depending upon the type or depending upon the year. We can sort. Even if objects have properties of different data types, the sort method can be used to sort the array like this. But in this compare function, we are using these property values depending upon the year here, and that is the property belonging to that object A, and this one is belonging to that object B. Thus we can use this one, and that will generate positive value or negative value or 0. Depending upon that, that will be the sort will change that order. Thus let's look at this real example here. Here original the array is this, and this one is containing some object here, and we can sort depending upon the probably year, depending upon the year that is sorted. And here we are using a dot year, a dot b dot year, and we are using that in this compare function. Okay, you can try others. Okay, let's move to the next. Okay, this one is still related to the array, and this one is especially about the iteration method related to that array, because there are usually many elements in that array. Thus we want to deal with each element. Thus this iteration, that means there are many elements we can iterate to operate on every array item. First one, probably we used this one briefly in previous chapter, but this one is explaining more in detail about this. The for each method calls a function, a callback function, once for each array element. Here, each element, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 elements here, and we are dealing with each element, array element, and for each, with this method we can do that. And this is my function, that is the callback function here. When this is being called, my function is called. This is callback function. And here, at this moment, you don't need to worry about these other parameters, and let's focus on that. In this whole chapter, you don't need to worry about this. Just focus on that value. That is about that. Each element value. To this one, we can, okay, I'll try to remove this one because that is confusing or complicating this source code and value. Simply single parameter. We are using this for each, and my function is callback function, as I mentioned, this one. And here we can use this value. Then this value means this one, this element, and this value, each element we are dealing with each element, and we can show out. And here we are using some HTML elements. Depending upon that, we can show out the result. This one is break, line break, thus each one is taking single line. Okay, after closing some open tabs, let's move to the next. Okay. Okay, another method, map. This method creates a new array by performing a function on each array element. Simply, let's look at this one. For each element, we can make it twice. After multiplication with this number 2, thus this number will be changed. And with this multiplication, we can increase twice. With this method name map, we can do that. And my function is callback function. Depending upon the callback function, we can do that. If we want to make it bigger, and we can increase 5 times, then we can do that. And another method, let's look at and briefly. This one is about still same, and let's move to the next. Next method is about filter. With this method, we can filter out, filter those elements out relate to that condition. If that value, element value that is higher than 18, we can find out among those elements. With this method filter, and the filtering condition is in this callback function. Return, this one checking each element. If that is true, value is higher than 18, that means that is true, then in that case it is shown out here as an output. If we are using this intentionally, true, then you can see all elements are true, thus we can show out all elements. Also, in this way we can okay, almost same result, same example. And also we can see this reduce. Reduce is reducing. This method runs a function on each array element to produce a single value. Produce a single value like the summation, like this total summation. Let's look at this real example, then that may be better for understanding. Okay, here simply here you don't worry about this. Just to array this element, these parameters. Just focus on that. And the total is the initial value, summation, and value, that is the element value here, and this one is adding up together, and finally the result will be added, and the final result will be shown here. That's 99. In other example is showing some initial value about that total. Okay, here if we are using this initial value, that is the initial value of this total, then it is starting from 100. Thus that means that is higher, that is added with this 100, thus higher than previous result, thus 100 more, because of that is the initial value for that total. Okay, this is almost the same, so you can refer to that. Okay, this one is every method. To this one we can check every element. Every method check if all elements values pass a test. This one is test condition, checking condition for every element. Every element, this one is satisfying this condition. Value is higher than 18, then that will be true. But this one is not satisfying that condition. The result will be false. And another one, if some value is satisfying, some value is satisfying, then that may be true. Or to this one. This one is some method. To this one, even though some values are satisfying this condition, then that the result will be true. Okay, this 45 and 25, those are satisfying this condition. That means some values are, some element values are satisfying this condition in this callback function. Then the result will be true, like that. Okay, probably this one is explained already in other previous chapter several times. Sometimes we want to get the index number of that array, and this index of method searches an array for an element value and returns its position, that is index number. Okay, here if this one is trying to find out the index number of that element value is apple, and this one is showing out the first element. If there are many same element, the apple here, this one is trying to find out the apple. But here 0, 1, 2, 0 and 2, those index numbers are related to this one, but the first one will be returned. Thus A will be the 0. That is the index number shown first time. Last index of, that is the showing the, this is exactly the same, but returns the position of the last occurrence of the specified elements. Thus if we are applying the same source code here, except that last index of, then it is showing different result. And this one is showing the number 3, that means that is added more. If we are removing that addition here, then we can see the array, that elements index number. You can see 2 here, that means 0, 1, 2 about this. That is the application of last index of, that is returning that value, last one. Find. This find method returns the value of the first array element that passes a test function, and that test function is in the callback function like this, find my function. And here that element is satisfying this condition. If several elements are satisfying this one, the first one will be returned. Find my function, then which one is satisfying this one? 25, 29. But among them, 25 will be the result. This find is returning back the first one, satisfying that condition. And instead of that element value, or if we are trying to find out that index number, then we are using find index. Then we can get the index number satisfying that condition. Then what is the index number for that? 0, 1, 2, 3, 3. That is the result. And here always you should be careful about this. the function name index, right? Here this one is the uppercase character. If we are changing this one index, this console is exactly the same to other camel case method name. This one is not correct. Thus the result, actually there is no find index method. That method is not existing. Thus this one is wrong. Thus we cannot get the right result. Thus we should be careful about that capital letter. Okay, let's move to the next. Okay, next chapter is about date object, and this one is probably related to the several chapters. Thus we'll continue in the next lecture, and I'll wrap up today's lecture here.